Hello, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, depending on where you are. Thanks for joining us again for career career transition and emotional intelligence. If I get really mixed up here today, but wanted to thank you all for listening in to our just short talks as it relates to career transition and emotional intelligence weekly on Wednesday. But then also for those of you who share or go back to the replay, we want to thank you as well for your support. So today, Denise and I are jumping into a topic dealing with emotional intelligence roller coaster, the ups, the downs, the career loops in your career. And we had just a brief discussion about this before jumping on and really just talking through, what does your career feel like today? And how do you feel about it in the previous years or as you've gotten to with this level that you're currently up on? And for me, I mentioned to her that my career didn't feel like a roller coaster. There were times where there were ups or downs and twists and turns where there were seasons of it feeling like a roller coaster. But overall, when I think about the 15 years, I wouldn't say that my career was a roller coaster ride. And I'm not a fan of roller coasters, so that's a great, that's great, because it's definitely not something that I get in line for anytime we're at the amusement park. But your career journey definitely can feel like that at times. And it's really important to recognize where you are in your career when those things are taking place. And the ups and downs can look different for everyone, as you're aware. So many times when we say ups, it's about, you know, the achievements, the promotions, embracing things that have happened that we're being celebrated for. And many times the downs could be, disappointments, projects that didn't carry through. It could be job loss. It could be not getting a job. That, or it could just be, personal or professional goals that are not met. And regardless of if it's an up or a down, it's important that you really step back and see what it is that you are designed to learn from that process, whether it is recognizing how you can be better, what is the lesson that I'm to take, how, in this particular moment, up or down. But being able to really sit into that space and recognize that regardless of where I am in on that pendulum, it's really important that I take away something each time. Your thoughts, Denise?
And definitely the pendulum is a bit like the loops and the ups and the downs, isn't it? But I'm not a fan of roller coasters either, and I tend to go for the rides that are smooth, linear, or I can maneuver and have control.
Yes.
And sometimes it's like that with our jobs as well and careers and the way that we'd like to maneuver through different sectors as well. And you know, if you're listening to this on the replay, think about your career where you have had ups and downs, and some of them are genuinely needed,
Mhm.
reorganization, restructuring, etc., etc. It's just the nature of the corporate sector as well, and or businesses. However, how you handle it from an emotional intelligence perspective is really crucial in terms of, is your self-reliance and your resilience strong? Do you handle pressure? Do you handle stress? Or is it bordering on anxiety when it gets to a point where you need to make a decision? And sometimes we have to just make a stop and take some time out to just determine, I want to stay on the roller coaster, or actually, I don't want to go on the roller coaster. And I gave Tara an analogy where well, it's not an analogy, it's actually true. I've got three children, and we did make some decisions about going on a roller coaster or not. And one of my children decided, no, I am not going to join my brother and sister. And two of them went on there, and both of them regretted it badly. It took them almost, you know, uh, up until the lunchtime and just after into the afternoon to really start to feel a little bit better. But
Mhm.
sometimes managing and going through our career journeys is like that as well. And sometimes we have to make and assess, do I take this next step? Do I make that next change? How do I make that next step? Who do I mentor with? How do I know it's the right choice? And what are the decisions that I need to make? And therefore, your decision making, your resilience, your managing of risk really have to be assessed and understood so that you make the right choices. So that's my sort of take on it, really, in terms of the ride, but it's worth it. Because I often say actually on these calls, look back at your CV or your resume. Did you make the right choices for the areas that you worked in previous companies or sectors? And if you did, you've already experienced it. So you can do it again. You've got the skills, you've got the knowledge. Go for it and don't be afraid of that at all.
Those are some good points. And when you were speaking about, just kind of the loops or the twist or the turns, that's really that unexpected piece. Many times when we have those twists and turns, they alter our paths in our career. But I think we take it for granted that it's always career driven. Many times it could be our personal things that are going on in our personal lives that impact or that really throw a spin into what we're doing. So when you think about twist company restructuring, typically we're not aware of. So mergers, acquisitions, those type of things are going on in the background, typically come to the forefront and they impact us in some form or fashion. Some could be up and others could be down, but it's a twist and turn. So it's definitely a career loop. The other piece could also be just personal things going on in your life. It could be that you're a caregiver. It could be, family challenges, in addition to really not be taking the time to reflect on where you are in your career as well. Because if you are faced with, position elimination or, job loss, then you're forced to reflect on where you are and where it is that you want to go. But if you really take the time, and that's something that I mention or that I encourage women that I work with, is to use some time, take some time, steal some time, create some time to really reflect on where you are now while you're working so that you can really, I think that you're able to do a better assessment before you're forced to, because when you're in that forced space, it just feels heavy. It feels like you have to rush to make a decision, but take the time now to really reflect on what your priorities are, where you see your career going, and how you really want to make an impact in the work that you do.
And those are really great snippets, actually, for anybody who's listening to this to take away with them in order for them to make those choices that they need to. And connect with Dr. Tara, drtaraspeaks.com, or myself, Denise at denisesparkelson.com. And both of us have a unique way of helping you get on that journey, make the right choices, and help you really get the clarity that you need to make the right choice for the future for yourself. So you won't regret it. I'm looking forward to following us, subscribing and or commenting. Either of those will be absolutely fine. And we look forward to you joining in to our next call that we do weekly with tips and strategies for emotional intelligence and career transition. And please check back as well to any previous YouTube updates that we've given, because you may find actually just by the titles alone that some of the answers will be there for you. So please do check in. All right. Take care. Thank you, Tara.
You're welcome. Always great.
Take care. Bye bye.
Bye.